big reason that James Bond is so attractive to women and so admirable to men is that he can seemingly do anything. His vast knowledge and endless skill set put him in control of every situation imaginable, giving him unshakable confidence. But being a real-life James Bond is also achievable for you. You can learn any of his skills for yourself, and in this video I'm going to show you how. Life is not like the movies, and that means developing any of these skills will take dedicated practice. But this is good news because learning them will also teach you patience, discipline, and courage. So as I share these 6 hobbies with you, I hope you feel inspired to take up a new skill, because every gentleman should have a varied and interesting life with pastimes that he's passionate about. So let's begin with number 1. James Bond is a master of modern languages. He speaks fluent Italian, French, German, and Russian. He also has skills in Spanish, Mandarin, Cantonese, Japanese, and Greek. Although Bond's abilities seem to have come out of nowhere, nobody achieves such a level of multilingualism without great practice. Thankfully, it's easier than ever to learn a language these days, and no doubt Bond's international travels provide him with constant opportunities to practice and improve his skills. But please note, Bond would not have such abilities if it weren't for his international mindset. It makes him no less patriotic that he appreciates and enjoys other cultures. And Bond is a great example of how useful and attractive knowing a foreign language can be. So consider if this is a skill you would like to add to your life. Perhaps there is a country you'd love to visit, a culture you have an affinity for, or family members who speak a foreign language that you would love to connect with. James Bond's ability to be dangerous is a huge part of what makes him so appealing. He is capable of defending himself whether armed or not, facing one opponent or dozens. His fighting abilities come from a wide range of disciplines, and he's not reliant on just one form of training. Daniel Craig learned Krav Maga for the role of James Bond, which is an Israeli martial art that combines various disciplines. It's highly applicable to real-life situations, and therefore would make you much more confident in your abilities to defend yourself. In fact, while researching this, I became so interested in Krav Maga that I actually signed up for my first class, which I'll be taking next Tuesday. In the books, James Bond has learned judo and jiu-jitsu and also boxing before entering the military. I would highly recommend any man to take up at least one form of martial arts or self-defense training. Personally, I love boxing and I take weekly lessons. James Bond excels in solo sports like skiing, shooting, and running. It's interesting how we don't see him partake in any group sports. Rather, he is a lone wolf, which I think reflects his personality. Although he is hypermasculine, Bond is never one of the guys. Across the different movies and novels, Bond shows his capabilities in the following sports: golf, skiing, bobsledding, snowboarding, swimming, diving, fencing, and skydiving. Bond is also a very capable driver, sailor, and pilot. Now, being as skilled as Bond in all of these pursuits is not realistic, but I hope this video has inspired you if you're thinking about taking up one of these hobbies to give it a shot. Sometimes we delay or procrastinate eternally on taking up a new skill. However, being a talented golfer, diver, or skier could be one of the most rewarding things in your life. Perhaps you have some prior experience with one of these sports, but you've never taken it seriously. Remember that Bond always takes self-development seriously and understands that any investments in learning will always pay dividends. While his skills in self-defense and sports are a huge part of Bond's personality, so is his style. Style is a form of knowledge, and many men fail to dress well because they find the idea unapproachable and intimidating. Bond, at least the Bond in the movies, is clearly a man who likes to dress well and knows the value of looking good. He wears the perfect thing for every situation, showing a good understanding of formality, cultures, and climate. Bond knows that to operate his business as smoothly as possible, he must look the part. If you feel like style is one of your weaknesses, I encourage you to see it as a hobby. It's a skill that takes time, practice, and investment. But Bond knows that a life lived without style is not a life well lived. If you're a fan of James Bond's style, I've made several videos showing you exactly how to dress like 007, so I will put the link to all of those videos in the description. Bond finds himself in a casino so often that it's almost his natural habitat, and at times his abilities at the baccarat and poker tables are a matter of life and death. Whether you gamble or not, learning poker and other card games can teach you valuable life lessons. These games require strategic thinking, risk management, and the ability to read your opponents. Poker can also be a great social activity to enjoy with your friends. And next time you find yourself in a casino, it's more interesting if you understand what's going on, whether you wish to partake or not. Please note that Bond never gambles to ruin, and he shows a good understanding of the risks and the odds. There are countless videos here on YouTube that will explain exactly how these casino games work. And see if you have any friends who are interested in poker or baccarat who might like to play with you. Finally, you might not think of body language, social awareness, and negotiation skills as a hobby, but to reach James Bond's mastery of the human mind, you would need to take them very seriously. No doubt this would have formed a large part of his MI6 training. So if you admire how cool, calculated, and cunning Bond can be, I encourage you to become a student of the human mind. You don't need to become a master manipulator, just learn how to read the room, use eye contact effectively, and improve your verbal communication. In my opinion, the best way to do this is by reading and then implementing the techniques that you learn. Some of my favorite books on the topic are Robert Cialdini's Influence, Leo Launder's How to Talk to Anyone, and the classic Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you want to understand a darker side to human nature, the works of Robert Greene can also be incredibly interesting and useful. For example, his book The 48 Laws of Power is so impactful that it's the second most banned book in prisons. I hope you've noticed something about these 6 James Bond hobbies, and that's their incredible variety. On one hand, he's the uber sophisticate of style and modern language. On the other hand, he's incredibly dangerous, able to kill a man with his bare hands and handle any weapon. I want to hear from you in the comments if you've been inspired to try any of the hobbies in this video, and let me know what step are you taking to ensure that you actually do it. For example, I got inspired to try Krav Maga, so I booked a class for next Tuesday. Maybe you want to get fluent in French, so you downloaded Duolingo, or you've booked a skydiving lesson. Now, if you are interested in meeting other gentlemen who love style, etiquette, and cultivating a life of sophistication, then I have good news for you. I am in the process of organizing my first ever Gent Z event, which will be taking place here in the city of Chicago. So far, I have nearly 50 signups, which is great, and I need anyone else who's interested to register using the link below. Thank you to everyone who's done that already. Thank you to you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.